Dr. Jack Kruse doesn't believe in supplements. As a neurosurgeon, he spent years arguing that your body runs on light, water, and magnetism, and that the entire supplement industry is solving the wrong problem. He's the last doctor alive who would tell you to buy something in a bottle. So when Andrew Huberman asked him point blank what he recommends and Kruse held up a bottle of water, it meant something. This wasn't just any water. Deuterium depleted water at 25 parts per million, about $20. He called it the supplement of kings. The reason he broke his own rule is sitting in the published literature. A researcher named Gabor Somliai ran randomized controlled clinical trials showing deuterium-depleted water had measurable effects against every cancer line tested. The book is called Defeating Cancer. In parts of Europe, this is recognized alongside conventional treatment. In America, most doctors don't even know what deuterium is. By the end of this video, you will. You'll understand why one atom of it controls 96 atoms around it, why your mitochondria treat it like poison, and why the geography of your water might matter more than everything in your medicine cabinet combined. Let's be honest about what's happening in the supplement industry right now. Americans spend over $50 billion a year on supplements. Vitamin D, magnesium, fish oil, ashwagandha. The list keeps growing. And look, some of these have legitimate research behind them. But here's the thing that nobody in the supplement space wants to talk about. Your cells don't run on pills. They run on electrons, they run on light, and they run on water. Not the water you drink from a bottle at the gas station. The water your mitochondria actually manufacture inside you as a byproduct of cellular respiration. Cytochrome CE oxidase, the fourth complex in your electron transport chain, produces water. Your mitochondria make their own water, and the quality of that water, specifically how much deuterium is in it, determines how well your entire energy system functions. So when Kruse held up that bottle on Rick Rubin's podcast and said this is the only supplement he recommends, he wasn't being cute. He was pointing at something most doctors have never even heard of. A hydrogen isotope that might be silently wrecking your cellular engine. So what is deuterium and why should you care? Hydrogen is the simplest atom in the universe. One proton, one electron. That's it. Deuterium is hydrogen's heavier sibling. Same atom but with an extra neutron stuck to the proton. That might sound like a tiny difference. It's not. That extra neutron doubles the atomic mass, and when you plug that into Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared, doubling the mass means you need exponentially more energy to do anything with it. Think of it this way. Normal hydrogen is a tennis ball rolling through a pipe. Deuterium is a bowling ball trying to squeeze through the same pipe. Your mitochondria need hydrogen flowing freely. Thousands and thousands of hydrogen atoms moving through molecular machinery at incredible speed. When deuterium shows up in that flow, it jams the system. Here's why it matters. One single deuterium atom controls the behavior of 96 hydrogen atoms around it. One atom, 96 affected. So even a small increase in deuterium concentration inside your mitochondria creates a cascading problem that ripples across your entire energy production system. Your cells don't just slow down, they start making mistakes. To understand why deuterium is such a big deal, you need to see what's actually happening inside your mitochondria. And it's one of the most incredible things in biology. Deep inside each mitochondrion, there's a molecular engine called the ATP synthase. Picture a turbine like the ones inside a hydroelectric dam, except this one is unimaginably small. It's a quantum nanorotor. Protons, which are just hydrogen atoms stripped of their electron, flow through this turbine at a rate of 9,000 to 12,000 per second. Every 3.4 rotations, it produces one molecule of ATP. That's your energy currency. That's what powers every thought, every heartbeat, every blink of your eye. Now imagine you're running this turbine at full speed and someone starts feeding bowling balls into the stream of tennis balls. That's deuterium entering the ATP synthase. It doesn't just slow the turbine down, it can physically damage the machinery. It ruins something called proton tunneling in the TCA cycle, which is the Krebs cycle, the foundational energy loop that earned a Nobel Prize in biochemistry. When proton tunneling breaks, your entire energy production system starts to fail. Not all at once, slowly, quietly. The kind of failure that shows up years later as a diagnosis you never saw coming. Now pause for a second and think about this. Every single cancer that's been studied in relation to deuterium shares one thing in common. Every one. They all show amplification of the COX-2 enzyme. You might recognize COX-2. It's what ibuprofen and aspirin block. But in the context of cancer, COX-2 amplification does something specific inside the mitochondria. It opens a gateway called uncoupling protein number 2. And when that gateway swings open, deuterium floods into the mitochondrial matrix where it has no business being. The matrix is where your TCA cycle lives. It's where hydrogen needs to flow clean and light. When deuterium gets in, it doesn't just slow things down, it shuts down the energy production that healthy cells depend on. The randomized controlled trials in Somliai's book show what happens when you reduce deuterium levels in cancer patients. The results are in the published literature. This isn't fringe. This is peer-reviewed science that almost nobody in mainstream medicine is talking about. Here's something you can do right now. Look up the book Defeating Cancer by Gabor Somliai. Read the trial data for yourself. Here's where the story takes a turn that honestly blew my mind when I first encountered it. This deuterium problem isn't just a human thing. Plants figured it out long before we did. Researchers discovered that when plants photosynthesize using deuterium-depleted water, their crop yields increase by 40%. 40%. Just by changing the isotopic composition of the water. The chloroplasts in plants, which are the ancestors of your mitochondria, they prefer light hydrogen. They work better, produce more energy, and grow faster when deuterium is removed from the equation. Nature already solved this problem billions of years ago. She selected for systems that run on the lightest possible fuel. And here's the connection that ties it all together. Photosynthesis and mitochondrial respiration are mirror images of each other. Photosynthesis consumes water and stores energy. Your mitochondria consume that stored energy and produce water. They're the same system running in reverse. So when plants show a 40% improvement with deuterium-depleted water, that's nature screaming at us. This isotope matters, the fuel quality matters, and your mitochondria, just like chloroplasts, are designed to run on the cleanest hydrogen possible. Now here's something that nobody in the health space is talking about, and it might be the most practical piece of this entire puzzle. Deuterium isn't evenly distributed across the planet. Where you live determines how much deuterium is in your water. Near the equator at sea level, water has more deuterium. As you move toward the poles or go higher in altitude, the water becomes naturally more deuterium depleted. And there's a beautiful logic to this. Near the equator, the sun is so powerful that deuterium doesn't matter as much. Your body has enough solar energy to overcome the extra mass. You can brute force the problem with photons, but as you move toward the 59th latitude, where the boreal forest marked the edge of where complex life can survive, something changes. There's not enough sunlight to compensate anymore, so nature provides a different solution. The water at high latitudes and high altitudes is naturally lower in deuterium. It carries more usable energy per molecule, less mass, more efficiency. Think about that. Nature compensates for reduced sunlight by improving the quality of the water. It's the same principle we see in animals that go into dark environments and create energy from internal sources. When the external power supply dims, the internal fuel has to be cleaner. This isn't random, it's a system, and it's been operating for billions of years without anyone in modern medicine noticing. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and honestly, this is the part that changed how I think about the whole system. Your blood contains about 150 parts per million of deuterium, but your mitochondrial matrix wants almost none. So ask the question, does nature make mistakes? If deuterium is so bad for your mitochondria, why is it deliberately kept in your blood at high concentrations? Here's the answer, and it's wild. When you compress deuterium, when you squeeze it, it emits ultraviolet C light. The same principle behind a deuterium arc lamp. Your blood isn't just carrying oxygen and nutrients. It's generating extreme ultraviolet light internally. That light charge separates the water in your blood before it reaches your tissues. It's preparing the fuel before it arrives at the engine. Your blood has no mitochondria in adult red blood cells. None. That's not a deficiency. That's by design. It increases the charge capacitance of the blood, turning it into a better electromagnetic capacitor. So deuterium in the blood serves a purpose. It's a UV light source. But deuterium in the mitochondrial matrix is a disaster. Nature put it exactly where it needs to be and keeps it out of where it doesn't belong. When that system breaks down, disease follows. This is the piece that most people in health and medicine completely miss. Your mitochondria don't just use water, they manufacture it. Cytochrome C oxidase, the fourth and final complex in your electron transport chain, takes hydrogen, protons, and oxygen and produces water as a byproduct of making ATP. But this isn't just any water, it's deuterium-depleted water. Your mitochondria are essentially a water purification system built into every cell. They take the hydrogen flowing through the system, preferentially use the light hydrogen, and produce the cleanest possible water for your cells to use. When this system is working properly, the water inside your cells is structurally different from the water you drink. It's more ordered, more coherent. It has a net negative charge, which is what Gerald Pollack at the University of Washington demonstrated with his research on what he calls exclusion zone water, or fourth phase water. The redox potential inside a healthy cell sits at around negative 400 millivolts. When you're sick, it drops to negative 200. That difference is the difference between a fully charged battery and a dying one. And the quality of the water your mitochondria produce is what maintains that charge. So the real question isn't what supplement should I take. The real question is, can my mitochondria make proper water? Now forget the water for a second and think about this from a completely different angle. When you stand in sunlight, your skin produces vitamin D. That vitamin D circulates through your body and does something that seems counterintuitive. It blocks electron chain transport in your mitochondria. It literally slows down the electron flow. Why would your body do that? Because when electron chain transport slows, the ATP synthase has to rely more heavily on red light to keep spinning. And red light from the sun never stops. It's always present during daylight. It penetrates 6 to 10 centimeters into your body. So sunlight is essentially telling your mitochondria you don't need as much food right now. I'm providing the energy directly. This is why people who spend significant time in the sun naturally eat less. It's not willpower, it's physics. The vitamin D receptor on the inner mitochondrial membrane is a UV detector inside your energy factory. Nature put a light sensor inside the organelle that makes your energy. That's not an accident, that's a design specification. Now I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds too simple. A bottle of water can't be more important than decades of pharmaceutical research. And I hear you. Let me address that directly. Nobody is saying deuterium-depleted water is a magic cure. What the science shows is that deuterium concentration is a variable that affects mitochondrial function, and mitochondrial function affects everything. Dr. Doug Wallace, who has spent 50 years studying mitochondrial DNA, has demonstrated something profound. The heteroplasmic rate, which is essentially the error rate in your mitochondrial DNA, increases about 10% per decade. As it goes up, disease appears. When you lower it, disease disappears. And it doesn't matter what the disease is. This isn't about one condition, it's about the energy system that underlies all conditions. Deuterium is one factor that affects this system, sunlight is another, cold exposure is another. The electromagnetic environment you live in is another. The point isn't that you should abandon everything and just drink special water. The point is that the most fundamental layer of your health, the one that sits beneath every diagnosis and every prescription, is an energy problem. And energy problems require energy solutions, not more pills. So what does this look like in practice? Let me give you the actionable steps. First, and this costs nothing, get morning sunlight on your skin and in your eyes every single day. This is the single most powerful intervention for mitochondrial health. It activates your POMC pathway, which produces cortisol, endorphins, and melanin, the master semiconductor of your body. Morning sunlight sets the entire cascade for the day. Second, if you're dealing with a serious health condition, look into deuterium-depleted water. The research-grade water used in the clinical trials is around 25 parts per million. It's available commercially, though it's not cheap for daily use. Start by reading the research. Understand what you're working with. Third, support your body's ability to make its own deuterium-depleted water. That means optimizing your mitochondrial function. Cold exposure helps because semiconductors work better in cold environments. It's basic physics. Your mitochondria are more thermally efficient when they're cooler. Fourth, reduce your exposure to artificial light, especially after sunset. Your melatonin production depends on darkness, and melatonin is one of the most powerful antioxidants your body produces. It offloads its energy to your semiconductive tissues during sleep. And fifth, get grounded, physically. Bare feet on wet earth or sand. Your body absorbs free electrons through the sweat glands in your feet, and those electrons are the raw material your cells need to capture light. Every one of these is free or nearly free, that's the point. The supplement industry is worth $50 billion a year. It's built on the idea that your body is missing something that comes in a capsule. But the most important thing your body needs can't be bottled and sold at a markup. It falls from the sky every morning. It flows from the ground beneath your feet, and your mitochondria manufacture it with every breath you take. Deuterium-depleted water isn't a miracle cure. It's a clue that the real game in human health isn't happening at the pharmacy counter. It's happening at the quantum level, inside the smallest engines in your body, where light meets water and energy is born. The question was never, what supplement should I take? The question is, can my body make proper water? And now you know what that means. If this changed how you think about your health, drop a comment telling me the one thing from this video you're going to try first. And if you want to understand how Dr. Kruse's banned TED Talk connects to everything we just covered, that video is right here.